Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 7th International Youth Symposium 2022, organized by BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University, India. Aim for the sky, but move slowly, enjoying every step along the way, for it's those little steps that make journey complete. And nothing in life is to be feared, it's only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, so that way may fear less. Namaste and a very warm good morning to all the dignitaries, practitioners, professionals, teachers, scholars, and participants from all across the Gujarat, India, and across the globe who have been able to join us on this glorious day. I am Ishvi Soni, along with my co-host Mohit Arya, student of Department of Public Policy and Governance, BK School of Professional and Management Studies. We would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all in the 7th International Youth Symposium 2022, organized by BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University, India. Robin Morgan said, knowledge is power, information is power. The secreting or hoarding of the knowledge or information may be an act of the tyranny camouflaged as humility. So now, let's move ahead with an intent of sharing knowledge and encouraging the spirit of research, innovation, sustainability, and as a growth, knowledge who knows the no borders. And as it said, if you have knowledge, let others light their candles in it. Our collective human wisdom has long been built through the exchange of ideas from our knowledge. Over to you, Mohit.
It fills my heart with joy to welcome all the dignitaries from across the globe, faculty members, industry professionals, research scholars, and participants who have joined us not only from various regions of our nation, but also from various countries on this occasion of the International Youth Symposium. Let's have a huge round of applause and cheers on virtual mode. Let's begin this auspicious session with the words of someone who gave the youth and nation wings of fire. Yes, I'm talking about none other than the former President of India and the pride of our nation, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He said, my message, especially to young people, is to have courage, to think differently, courage to invent, to travel the unexplored path, courage to discover the impossible and to conquer the problems and succeed. These are great qualities that they must work towards. This is my message to the young people. These enlightening words shall remain with us forever. In this century, our biggest challenge is to take up an idea that seems abstract and to turn it into a reality. But in this path, everything has to be managed keeping in mind the sustainable methods that can be an alternative for businesses, which of course is the theme of the INYS 2022, achieving sustainable growth through policy and business interventions. Empowering youth in contributing to sustainable development is the idea behind the INYS that aims at conversions of dynamic youth from all over the country to share best practices, discuss needs, gaps, challenges, and discover new ways to work together with the purpose of empowering nations altogether. It is the congruence of the highest ideas and thoughts of the young. This event also marks the youthfulness of as 46 years of young fraternity of BK School of Professional and Management Studies. Now let us proceed with the anthem of our prestigious Gujarat University, an institute which has given excellence in education to our society since its establishment in 1949. Few of the university's many alumni includes our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi sir, Mallika Sarabhai, Kuchipudi and Bharatnatyam dancer, Mr. Ashish Nandesh, political psychologist and social theorist, Mr. Pankaj Patel, CEO of Cadila. Can we have video on the screen, please?
बुद्धियुतो जहातिह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम। भगवद गीता के द्वितीय अध्याय से यह श्लोकांश योगः कर्मसु कौशलम गुजरात विश्वविद्यालय का सिद्धांत सूत्र एवं ध्येय मंत्र है। इस संगोष्ठी में भी स्वच्छता संबंधी जो कर्मयोग हुआ है उसके फलस्वरूप बेहतर समाज की ओर कई कदम हम आगे बढ़ेंगे, ऐसी हम सबकी भावना है। गुजरात विश्वविद्यालय का गीत प्रस्तुत होगा। हम सब
वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन। गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी आपणी, गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी आपणी विद्यातणु तपोवन। वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन। राष्ट्र चेतना कला साधना खेल भावना विकसे, विश्व मानवी बनी गुजराती विश्व सकल માં વિલસે। સ્નેહ સંપ સહકારની સાથે દેતી તું સન્મતિ, સૌના સાથને સંગાથે સૌ સિદ્ધ કરે ઉન્નતિ। પ્રેમ બંધુતા સમાનતાના પલ પલ પ્રસરે સ્પંદન। વંદન અભિનંદન, વંદન અભિનંદન, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन, वंदन अभिनंदन।
Now, let me give our audience an introduction about our institute, that is BK School of Professional and Management Studies. BK School of Professional and Management Studies is a department of management of prestigious Gujarat University established in 1976, is one of the oldest and eminent B schools of Gujarat state, BK School of Professional and Management Studies. Our institution is ranked 19th among public B schools of India by Outlook 2021 India survey. The school has been vetting human as well as intellectual skills of a new breed of dynamic managers ever since. BK has acquired a unique position in the list of top business schools with its attributes like excellent curriculum, experienced faculties, industrial exposure, strong alumni network, academia industry interface. The school has divided its activities under different departments, which includes Department of Maritime Management, Department of Professional Studies, Department of Business Intelligence, and Department of Public Policy and Governance. BK School runs PhD, MPhil, MBA programs, PG diploma programs, certificate level programs, and MBA evening and executive level programs. Here, we are presenting a video portraying life at the Institute and journey of INYS. Can we have a video on the screen, please?
योग कर्मसु कौशलम्,
meaning integrating skill in action. This is the motto of the glory of Gujarat, that is, the Gujarat University. Taken from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, this
Yeah, I think the video is stuck. Can we move forward, Ankush?
I think there is a technical error. We apologize for that. Let us begin the INYS 2022 with the presence and blessing of the Lord Almighty. As we all know that light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity, and with the same positivity, before we go ahead with the ceremony, let us invoke the energy by the lighting of the lamp. Can we have the shlok, please?
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः सा दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापम् सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते।
Wonderful. What an auspicious moment we had. Please have a big round of applause, everybody, on the virtual board. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm obliged. So, moving ahead, today we have the honor of having with us Mr. Tomio Isogai, sir, the director of Kansai Japan India Cultural Society, Kobe, Japan, senior advisor at Indian Japan Business Desk, Kochar and Company. Second, we have Dr. Pooran Pandey, sir, member of the Board of Trustee, UN World Food Program Trust, and resident representative at Climate Scorecard, Milton, USA. Major General Preetham Bishnoi, sir, advisor of Defense and Strategic Affairs, Broadcast Engineering Consultant India Limited, Information and Broadcasting Ministry, India. Professor Dr. Himanshu Pandya, sir, Vice Chancellor of Gujarat University, India. Dr. Jagdish Bhausar, sir, Pro Vice Chancellor of Gujarat University, India. Dr. Pratik Kanchan, sir, Director of BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University, and Dr. Neelam Panchal, ma'am, Associate Professor at BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University, and Coordinator of the Department of Public Policy and Governance. Now, I request Dr. Neelam Panchal, ma'am, to welcome Dr. Pratik Kanchan, sir. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, one and all present over here, all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and all the people who have joined over here on a virtual board. I welcome our Honorable Director, Dr. Pratik Kanchan. Dr. Pratik Kanchan is BSc Mathematics, Physics and Chemistry, MBA Marketing, and PhD Advertising. He is a professor and a very vibrant director of the BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University. His specializations of the areas includes integrated marketing communications, international marketing, marketing management, and consumer behavior. Professor Pratik Kanchan has 2 years of industrial experience and 25 years of experience in teaching at postgraduate level. He has also presented more than 50 papers in the national and international conferences, many of them held at various institutes like the premier institutes of IIM, Kolkata, Kozhikode, Ahmedabad, Indore, to name a few. He has also, to his credit, an edited book on film advertising, brand position strategy, and having a three-reference book titled as Contemporary Marketing Promotions, Dynamics of 21st Century Marketing Communications, and Writing on Marketing, Research Journey of an Academician from 2002 to 2015. He has also published a general book titled Stories as Experience, making life meaningful. He has to his credit 33 articles and the papers published in various souvenirs, journals, newspapers, newsletters, and so on. Under his guidance, there are more than 11 PhDs that have been awarded and 8 scholars are pursuing PhD. Apart from that, MPhil Awards has also taken place, and he has taken a number of sessions as a keynote speaker, invited speakers, session chair at various academic conferences and seminars nationally and internationally. Besides being an external examiner to many PhD theses outside Gujarat University, he's always there to motivate the teachers and all the vibrant team of the BK School of Professional and Management Studies. I welcome you, sir, for the welcome address. Thank you so much for being over here with
Thank you.
us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will proceed now. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Honorable Pro VC, sir, Honorable Registrar, sir, Mr. Tomio, Dr. Puranchand Pandey, sir, Major General Preetham Bishnoi, sir, my colleague and convener of the INVICE 2022, Dr. Neelam Panchal, my faculty colleagues, other faculty colleagues, staff, researchers, and students. Uh, INYS 2022, having the objective of achieving sustainable development goals through policy and business interventions, aptly sums up the contemporary issue of sustainable goals through policy and business interventions. Government as well as private business are important pillars in order to ensure their sustainability on various parameters, keeping in mind UN mandated targets for 2030. Keeping in mind UN mandated targets for 2030, this INYS 2022 is expected to come up with directions in which academia and corporate world besides the government have to move in the direction of policy and initiatives related to them. I strongly feel that the constant, continuous support and motivation of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Pro VC Sir, as well as our Honorable Registrar, has helped us in not only organizing this summit, symposium since last 7 years continuously, but in many other events and exposures. I continue to wish that this keeps on happening and we keep on getting motivated. I would like to also mention that this symposium should and has to go a long way in making the world more calm, peaceful, and sustainable for all times. And keeping that in mind, I wish all the stakeholders a very interesting, knowledge filling, sharing, and knowledge giving event for the coming 2 days time. I wish all the best to all of you and welcome one and all at this virtual conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the welcoming remarks. We beholden to you for your presence. Now we would like to welcome Dr. Neelam Panchal ma'am for briefing us about the International Youth Symposium. Dr. Neelam Panchal ma'am is an associate professor at BK School and in charge of Department of Public Policy and Governance, Gujarat University. She is coordinating courses like MBA in Public Policy Management, MBA in Business Economics and Public Finance, MBA in Event Management, PG Diploma in Public Finance and Economics, PG Diploma in Public Policy Management, 10 PG Diploma courses, 5 certificate courses, and 4 integrated MBA in Business Economics and Management, HR and Public Administration, Finance, and Business Management. Under the umbrella of BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University, she is also coordinator of courses of Management Academy programs of BK School like PG Diploma in Finance Management, PG Diploma in Training and Development, PG Diploma in Information Technology Management, and PG Diploma in Materials and Operations Management, running under the coordinator for various courses launched under Institute of Defence Studies and Research, IDSR at Gujarat University. During the course of her career, she completed the Faculty Development Program in Management from prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and specialized programs and management teachers programs and FDPs at IIM Calcutta, IIM Bangalore, IIM Indore, IIM Noida, MDI Gurgaon, to name a few. Dr. Panchal is a chairman of Indian Society for Training and Development. Dr. Neelam has worked as a full-time faculty at Institute of Management, Nirma University. She has completed teaching assignments with Management Development Institute, Murshidabad, Calcutta, Manipur University, Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, Narmada College Campus, Bharuch GNFC, UGC HRDC, Hyderabad, Indus University, Paril University, to name a few. She has conducted employee development, management development, faculty development, and women development programs for executives and middle level managers of different organizations like Kohler India, GNFC, PI Industries, Classic Hotels, Jindal Industries, Babina Diagnostics, Cadilla, to name a few. She has published more than 120 research articles and more than 20 books. She has developed course materials and cases for PG courses of MG and CRE, Government of India. She has developed 5 MOOCs and more than 130 e-content modules on various subjects of management, which is part of Swayam Prabha, DTH channel devoted to telecasting of high-quality educational programs. We welcome you, man. The stage is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mohit and Ashvi. Respected all the dignitaries for today's inauguration function of 7th International Youth Symposium 2022. Good morning, Dr. Puran Chandra Pandey, member of the Board of Trustee, UN World Food Program Trust, resident representative at the Climate Scorecard, Milton, US. We welcome you, sir. Major General Preetham Bishnoi, PSM retired, advisor, Defense and Strategic Affairs, Broadcast Engineering Consultant India Limited, Information Technology and Broadcasting Ministry of India. We welcome you, sir. Mr. Tomio Usugai, Director, Kansai, Japan, India Cultural Society, Kobe, Japan, and a Senior Advisor in the India-Japan Business Desk. We welcome you, sir. Honorable Professor Dr. Himanshu Pandya, Vice Chancellor of Gujarat University and a Chief Patron of the Symposium. We welcome you, sir. Honorable Dr. Jagdish Bhavsa, sir, Pro Vice Chancellor of Gujarat University and writing a lot of articles on the Sustainable Development Goals and the patron of the Symposium. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Pratik Kanchan, Director, BK School of Professional and Management Studies and a chairperson of the International Youth Symposium. We welcome you, sir. Learned professors, the faculty members of Gujarat University, distinguished invitees from different parts of the country, delegates from the foreign countries and from India, learned scholars and students of not only Gujarat University, but universities across the world. I welcome you all in this 7th International Youth Symposium 2022. Friends, BK School of Professional and Management Studies has been organizing this youth symposium in series since 2016. The International Youth Symposium 2022, on this auspicious occasion, I would like to say a few lines about the Youth Symposium. In fact, the whole world talks about the youth empowerment, youth-led governance, youth for education, youth for global goals, youth for achievements, and implementation of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, with the objective of keeping in mind for doing something towards empowering and building the capacity of the students, scholars, youth. The idea of organizing such event that has come up in our mind in the year 2015 when I joined Gujarat University. Accordingly, since 2016, under the guideship, under the permissions from our authorities of the Gujarat University and a consistent support and guidelines of all the authorities, the BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University has been organizing the symposium in series for the benefit and the support of not only the youth but also to the government for making some suggestions in the policy initiatives so that ultimately the idea of achieving UN Sustainable Development Goals can be achieved. In fact, in the 2018, the symposium was organized in collaboration with the International Youth Fellowship South Korea. It was really a colorful event with large number of foreign delegates. In general, we organize it in a physical mode, but looking into the present scenario of COVID, we have taken an initiative to organize this on virtual mode. But it's very, very pleasant to tell you that across the globe, we are getting very good responses. We have received the participation from more than 600 participants across the nation. We have received more than 150 research papers from the participants across the nation. In this 2 days event, we are going to have a speakers from across the globe. We are going to have a plenary session. We are going to have panel discussions. The 17 experts or the stalwarts who are really working on a particular goal. We have tried to divide the 17 sustainable goals among the 17 different stalwarts. And tomorrow also, we are going to have a panel discussion on that. So the theme of this International Youth Symposium 2022 is achieving sustainable development goals through business and policy interventions. So this time we had made this theme very, very specific because we want to be focused and we want to see that how we as an individual can support in the achievement of the sustainable development goals. In addition, how as a business people, how as a professional, how as a policy maker, how as a government, how as a youth of the nation can I support to the idea of achieving United Nations Sustainable Development Goals so that there is a peace, there is a unity, there is a progress and a growth. However, with the senior support of the University Authority and members of the BK School of Professional and Management Studies and the dedicated team of the volunteers of the Department of Public Policy and Governance, we are today at this level. Because of the efforts of all the members of the organizing committee, this time we could get lot many articles and very, very good experts, which we can see in the schedule itself. The papers that are going to be selected, that are going to be published in the three books, and the selected papers are going to go for the publication in the UGC Care journals and the Scopus General. Well, I'm really thankful to all the dignitaries, all the invitees, all the faculty members of Gujarat universities, particularly the BK School of Professional and Management Studies, delegates, scholars, students, media persons, volunteers for being with us on this auspicious day of the inaugural function of the 7th International Youth Symposium 2022. I welcome you. Join hands, try to have learning of unlearned, and let's make our nation a pride. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving the glimpses of the event. And thank you so much for empowering the youth. And we all are like the students are rising under your shadow. So, moving ahead, now we are welcoming and introducing Dr. Puran Pandey, sir. He is the founding CEO of Dialogue of the Civilizations Research Institute and Berlin, Germany-based international think tank, contributor to Springer Nature International's global encyclopedia on sustainable development goals, and supplemental policy advisor to government in China, Germany, India, and Rwanda. Puran Chandra Pandey sir currently serving as a resident representative of Climate Scorecard, a US climate policy think tank. Previously, he served in senior leadership position at Nippon Dendo Oscar, Bennett, Coleman and Company and the United Nations. He also conceptualized the launch of some of the biggest public services campaign, including Teach India, earning praise from the Secretary General of the United Nations. His professional work on issues related sustainability, circular design, sustainable development, climate change and international treaties, and environmental policies, multilateralism, international project collaboration, energy transition, private sector and development cooperation transcends geographic around and across the world and strains widely, quoted nationally, regionally, and internationally. He has been trained at Asian Productivity Organization, Japan, United Nations in New York, Swedish Institute, Stockholm, and United Nations. Environmental Program and Tonje Institute on Environment for Sustainable Development, Shanghai. Sir, kindly grace the occasion with your kind words. Stage is all yours. And thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you very much, sir. Stage is all yours.
Thank you very much indeed, and I am indeed very thankful to BK School of Professional and Management Studies under Gujarat University. I would also like to thank Neelamji for being persistent in being able to, sort of reach out and make the whole thing happen. So I'm very, very thankful. what I am trying to do today is that I'm trying to uh, speak on a topic which is very close to my heart and something which has been very much consistent with uncertain times that we have all been through for the last 2.5 years. So, what I am really trying to going to be doing in 15 minutes is to try and give a little overview of sustainable development goals and government policies in tackling poverty and also tackling income inequality during uncertain times. I'm not really calling it as COVID 19 times because COVID was one thing which happened, but then there were many other episodes and events which preceded and succeeded COVID 19. For example, while COVID was happening, we were also being hit by uh, climate change issues. We were being hit by floods, drought, and all kinds of natural calamities. And therefore, it would be wrong for anybody, including me, to say that it was only COVID 19 which we were battling over the last 2.5 years, a period. So, my theme for next 12, 13 minutes will be sustainable development goals and government policies because everybody is very important, private sector, civil society. But if there is no force of the state anywhere, in any sovereign country, then nothing really moves. And therefore, I'm really going to focus very briefly on overall activities and actions that the government of India accomplished in order to keep the country safe as much as it could, because we were really passing through a very, very difficult times. So let me go back a bit and take you to the year 2000. The year 2000 was the year when UN came up with eightfold Millennium Development Goals, which expired in 2015. And I had the privilege of being a part of both the MDGs. And also, when the first evaluation of the MDGs happened in 2012, it was in Rio, the capital of Brazil, where some heads of states came together and began to think through in terms of what will really lie ahead of eightfold Millennium Development Goals. So 2012 was the year when review began to happen, and in 2015, we finally came together, and all the members of the UN Security Council and the General Assembly came together, and then they became the part of UN mandated. It's not a treaty forced kind of goal, but it's aspirational goal. And every country, which was 193 then, which came together to consider accomplishing those 17 goals, which are nothing but aspirational goals. And if you were to really put 17 goals, they will be into social goals, political goals, and economic goals. So this is nothing very rocket science. So we could probably keep on telling ourselves that these 17 goals are nothing but socio-economic, political development, which every country has to continue to monitor, take action, and report back to the UN every year. And it is being done everybody, and it is being done by India as well. If you really look at what really happened in World Economic Forum 2 years back before the pandemic hit, they came out with three issues and they said that for the next couple of years, we will be battling three episodes, and these three episodes would be climate. The second one they said could be COVID 19, which also meant health. And then they also said that it will also mean conflict because COVID conflict and climate, they're not really separate from each other. So, World Economic Forum said that we need to really prepare ourselves to be able to take necessary action both at the level of the government, at the level of the policy, the money, the resources, and coordination activities, which will be needed to take care of these overlapping episodes which will be hitting not only India or one country or two countries here and there, but that will be hitting the world at large. And therefore, the problem became larger than the country specific problem. And therefore, if you look at conflict, you look at climate, you look at COVID, everything is a global problem, and no one country can be safe enough unless everybody is safe enough. Unless everybody is saved through vaccine in the arm in one country or one locality or one community, no one is safe. So, therefore, the problem became a global problem, and we need to really recognize it. Having said it, let me talk about four things pretty quickly. When these uncertain times came, as I said, COVID, climate, other natural events, a couple of things were really getting disrupted in a very, very big way. And I think Gujarat University, being a university, would really agree with me that education and health, these were the two things which really affected each one of us pretty badly. If we were not keeping well, we could not attend the classes, however virtual they were. Of course, nobody went to the school, nobody went to the college. But these things became even more complicated because people, because of their health reasons and health issues, could not really attend the classes, they could not really listen to the teachers, and therefore everything became absolutely critical. So, universities and the schools will really acknowledge and recognize the fact that it was not that people were suffering from the health, but due to the health, many of the student community and the teaching community could not really contribute to teaching and learning process, which was a big thing, and I think ill effect of which will be felt for a fairly long time to come. So, on the one hand, we were grappling with health and education. On the other hand, a very large, sizable chunk of our population, which is poor, which is vulnerable, which is migrant worker, women, folks in particular, people in the old age, they were all really suffering from a variety of issues. One was the health, and then a lot of other issues, which meant lack of supplies, lack of food, lack of resources. And therefore, these things, if you really combine together, they fulfill to a very large extent all the 17 goals, which Sustainable Development Goals subsume within itself. So let me really go back pretty quickly to education. If you really look at education part in India, we have roughly about 240 million students who are enrolled until about 12th standard, and they are typically between the age of 4 and 18. And if you were to really take the enrollment ratio of 96, you have roughly about 225 million children within the age group of 4 and 18 who are into the schools as we speak to each other. So that was the kind of a quantum of youth and our children who were suffering in a variety of ways. Health problem, not being able to attend the classes, teaching, learning not really happening. Many of our rural students not really having a laptop or a mobile so that, they could probably go and attend to the classes, etc., etc. If you look at the higher education, we have roughly about 38.5 million students who are enrolled into all of our public-private university system. So this part was also pretty affected. So if you really look at 240 million plus 38 million, we had roughly about 300 million population of our country which was not really doing pretty well on several accounts. So it was health and education, and a lot of disruption which really happened in teaching learning landscape, result of which, as I said, will be felt for a very, very long time to come. On the other hand, if we really were to look at the vulnerable population of our country, we had roughly about 100 million people who were in those categories I stated earlier on: migrant, those who left their homes and came to urban centers to work. COVID hit, they lost their job, they had to go back home. Our women folks, and similarly, old age people, etc., etc. And this is where the government's role was very, very important. And if we were to really look at what the government did, especially in this particular area, which was to keep this 100 million population up and running and seeing to it that they could probably get medicine, they could get vaccine, they could get food supplies. And the government of India did a tremendous work. And that happened only because of the public policy element. And if we were to really look back and see what the government of India did was, government of India really supported some 80 crores of vulnerable population. And this vulnerable population was not only in the rural setting, but also in semi-urban and urban setting. So government provided, regular food supplies, wheat and rice and grain and pulses, so that this very large population could really survive. Because when a pandemic hits and everything is closed, everything is shut down, nobody knows what to really do. And this is where the instrument of the government, as Gujarat University teaches public policy, and I have been a student of the public policy as well, when uncertain times come, especially like climate and COVID and conflict, it is precisely the role of the government and the state, with all its instruments which it has at its disposal to support and help and guide people so that they could slowly and gradually come out of such a difficult scenario. So government really supplied regular food supplies to about 80 crores of people in our country, which really costed our government roughly about, the amount is in Indian rupee 2 lakh crore, which is roughly about 16% of the total annual budgetary plan outlay. So you could probably try and figure out, while the government was trying to pass instructions and leverage all its instrument and the tools which it has, right from providing people health facilities, beds in the hospitals, supporting schools and colleges with how could they really proceed, offering and executing learning, teaching landscape in a very, very good way so that at least something really happens. And while the government was supplying the food supplies to more than 80 million of the people, it was also trying to lay the tools whereby it could continue to keep people above the poverty line. And this is where my theme that I'm speaking on today is the government policies, SDGs, in tackling not only extreme poverty. Extreme poverty has been defined by the UN and the World Bank and IMF that you need to have a certain degree of calorie per day, and you have to have certain number of rupee or dollar so that you could be considered to be above the poverty line. So while the COVID and climate and disruption was happening, government was taking a lot of efforts, and it made a lot of efforts so that people do not really plunge below the poverty line, one. And secondly, when people begin to plunge below the poverty line, one of the first few things which they get affected with is the income inequality. Because if you do not really have means to earn your livelihood, which means that you do not only plunge below the poverty line, but you also get out of the circulation of the economic activities. And therefore, one of the things which the government of India, like every other government around the world, did was that it tried to not only provide all the instruments of the government by supplying regular food supplies, by giving all instruments to intended beneficiaries. But the government also tried to see to it that the people, number one, do not fall below the poverty line, because once people begin to fall below the poverty line, economic activity of that community gets disrupted. And then it goes up to district level, the state, and then the national level. And this is where, at the end of the day, we will all see that the growth has been hit. We have all been affected because there was not enough economic activity, and people were being supported by largesse and support, which was largely coming from the government. I'm not really saying it was not coming from the private sector or the civil society. Everybody did what they could do, but it was basically the government's money, the government's tools and interventions, which really try to keep people, surviving, both with the regular food supplies and also seeing to it that they continue to uh, continue to participate in the economic activities by providing them employment in rural and semi-urban areas. And this is how the government, with all its tools and instruments, could really try to stave off a catastrophe which could have been very, very bad, which could have really plunged millions of people below the poverty line. And if that would have had happened, then income inequality, which means the social disparity between rich and poor, might have gone even further. And that would have been a very bad case scenario for a country like India. I will quickly say before I conclude that India is a country, and I'm very happy that Gujarat University and the BK School has been accomplishing this particular symposium. And the reason for me to feel very happy about is twofold. One, that if you really look at the youth population, India is on the top. And if I were to really look at the number of the youth population, it is roughly about, overall, it is 1.8 billion worldwide. In India, we have 356 million youth. And after that, we have China, we have Indonesia, and we have the US. And therefore, India and BK School and Gujarat University leading this kind of youth symposium is very, very, very important. And secondly, youth has to be made aware about these goals, which are sustainable development goals, which are very, very important. And every youth, more than people like us who are already on the other side of the age, they have a greater role to play. It is not only up until 2030, but beyond that, because after 2030, we will have some other goal. And therefore, the role of the youth in India and the world at large is very, very important. And the youth has to really ensure three things, which is very, very important. The first one is that this COVID 19 in some way will continue to pan out. If it is COVID 19 today, it could be something else tomorrow. So the youth has to be very much aware about their role, their responsibility, and they did a great job when COVID 19 hit. They were out, they did volunteering, they reached out people, they reached out women, old age people, people who did not have enough to, have on their own side. Therefore, they have to really understand and realize their accountability, their responsibility, and what they need to do. Second part, which is really going to be pretty cumbersome, is going to be climate change. For COVID-19, we have vaccine and we can get it on our arm and feel happy about it. If not one, then two, and then if not two, we can get boosted and somehow we can feel happy and safe. But climate change will not really give any one of us any vaccine at all. So the youth has to really remember that while they will have to really fight a very tough battle ahead on the climate change, they will really have to ensure that they find ways and means, they become more innovative, they become more entrepreneurial, and see to it as to how shall they really try and battle the problems like climate change, which will have no vaccine at all. And finally, our youth will have to really remember and recognize that they really need to get empowered, they really need to become more entrepreneurial, they need to really become more innovative, because in times to come, we will not really have enough jobs to do, but we will have enough positive enabling environment which is being provided by our governments, both at the state level and also at the national level, whereby we will have enough resources, we will have enough ecosystem, we will have enough good teachers, enough good universities who will really help guide and support our youth of tomorrow to be entrepreneurial and not really go out and seek a job for a few years here and there, but create more asset, which is community asset, which is asset at the level of our state, at the level of our universities, and see to it that our youth of tomorrow is very well prepared to tackle challenges which are really going to be very, very difficult, very overlapping. I mean, they will not really come as one problem, but they will come as three problems combined into one. And therefore, the responsibility for the youth as much as it is for our government to see to it that they could probably step up the plate, step up the game, and try and become more responsible, become more innovative, be more responsible to the people in the community, and become more entrepreneurial. And I think that is the ethos of 17-fold Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm very thankful to BK School, to Nilamji, to all our colleagues for inviting me to be able to share some thoughts which I had, and I hope it was of some value and help. So thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us, sir, and talking about the healthcare, educational growth, and government policy. And truly said by you, sir, that youth should be ensures their responsibility, accountability, and they should be ready for taking challenge and seeing like every problem as a challenge and opportunity. So thank you so much for that, sir. And I think one of our participant have one question. Mohit, would you like to
Yes, sir.
ask? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please go ahead. Yeah.
So there is an inequality of wealth distribution in India. The poor are very poor and rich are very rich, and there is certain section in the middle which we call middle class. So, what would you give advice to the young people? Who will be becoming CEOs, managers, civil servants? With what mindset should they approach so that they can make India, more equitable society in terms of wealth distribution?
Certainly, I mean, one thing which I have been saying, whether I was in India or I was in Asia or Africa or the Europe, one thing that I have been telling students, the youth, because you are the future of tomorrow. And as I said, we are already on the wrong side of the age. When you get into, you'll be getting into several areas. I mean, some of you will become a teacher, some of you will become a CEO, some of you will become an entrepreneur, some of you will really go on to become a political leader. And everybody has got equal responsibility to deliver. But one thing, just to keep everything very simple, I am being very mindful of the time as well. I have always been telling the youth and the people in the corporate setups that do not go and make profit. Profit making is a very bad idea, and profit making has really brought us to a level where we still keep on talking about income inequality, inequality, poverty, not having enough resources for the people to give them what they really need. I mean, nobody is really asking to be given so much money so that somebody becomes a millionaire, but everybody has the right, including human right, to have decent employment, decent education, at least a bed in a hospital, and some kind of support system which is available. Nobody really wants to be given $1 million or a 1 million rupee or whatever. And this is equally the role of the government. But the governments are broke everywhere around the world. So we should not really go to the government and ask everything from the government. So what we really have to see to it, and this is where private sector comes in and civil society comes in. The role of the government in any sovereign country is to create an enabling environment, to have good laws and policies, rule of law, ensure that there's a political will and system and everything else. The role of the private sector is to bring the resources up front and provide those resources in equal opportunity sort of a way to the people. And this is where I keep on telling that corporate sector, the private sector, has to really give up and they have to really tell themselves that they will not really make profit. They will really create wealth. When you create profit, profit goes into a few hands, shareholders and maybe some employees. And this is where, if you look at any company, you'll find only 5% of that company's employees, which means employees and stakeholders and shareholders, gobbling up 90% of the money. I mean, 3-4% of the people in any company take 90% of the entire profit. They eat it up. But if they really create the wealth, wealth can then be distributed, not only among employees and the shareholders and the stakeholders, but also with the people around, because every company must remember they cannot survive in a society which is weak, which is fragile, and which is not really able to stand on its own feet. Of course, you have CSR and a little bit of here and there. That is all facade. But unless and until companies begin to produce wealth, it will not be able to be distributed across the border, across the board, and many people in our society and community will continue to remain poor, will continue to remain vulnerable, and the disparity in our society will continue to widen, which is not good for anybody, as I said. It's not good for the government, it's not good for the private sector, it's not good for civil society institutions. So we really need to come together, government, private sector, civil society, and tell the private sector, please give up on making profits. Profits are bad, but if you really create wealth, you can own a part of that wealth, but you can also distribute a fairly large part of that wealth amongst the people in our society. And that would be what Nilamji said and others said as well in the beginning. How do we really leverage SDG goals for peaceful, sustainable, less vulnerable society where people are more equal than who they have been in the past? So wealth creation is something which is very, very important, and profits are bad. I mean, profits are very, very bad. So we have to really corral and come together and rally together and tell wherever we are to the companies that please do not make profit, because then you eat 90% of that. Create wealth so that you can distribute a very large part of that wealth both within your company and also to a fairly large number of people within which you have been operating your corporate infrastructure. If society is weak, if society is not good, if society is vulnerable, companies are never ever going to be able to do well. So it goes, if society is happy, companies are happy. If companies are happy, societies are happy. So we have to really put a lot of focus on wealth creation and stay away from profiteering, which is what is really happening in India and in several parts of the world. So that's my brief reaction to how could we really, stop perpetuating the kind of inequality and disparity in our society. And that's the only way I personally feel wealth is very important, but profits have to be given up.
Very insightful answer, sir. Thank you so much. We have learned a lot. I'm sure that our audience member would have learned a lot from that answer. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Heartily,
Thank
thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much, sir, for empowering the youth and giving the insights on that. Moving forward, friends, we are pleased to inform you that in total we have received around 150 abstract and ideas on the theme which have been published as a souvenir. It's time to release the souvenir book. May I request dignitaries to join hands in releasing the souvenir virtually? Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, on the book release. Thank you very much. In addition, we have received nearly 100 full papers which have been published in 3 books of proceeding of symposiums. The first book on the next novel, Strategies for Sustainable Future. Have a big round of applause. Come on, everybody. Please put your hands together. The second on reimagining business management in 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the contribution. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm obliged. And the third book is on achieving the sustainable development growth through business and policy interventions. Everyone, please put your hands together. Thank you to all the dignitaries for joining the hands virtually for the release of the book. Over to you, Mohit.
Now, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our esteemed guest, Major General Pritam Bishnoi sir. Major General Pritam Bishnoi, VSM, joined the Indian Army through National Defence Academy Pune and Indian Military Academy Dehradun on 9th June 1984 in Corps of Signals after having completed his schooling from Sainik School, Chittorgarh in Rajasthan. He has undertaken various faculty development programs on communication networks and information systems, cybersecurity, emerging technology, and MIS in IIT Delhi, IIT Indore, IIM Ahmedabad, and IISc Bangalore for the last 37 years. During his 37 years of service in the Indian Army, he has vast experience of command, staff, and instructional appointments in the field of communication and information technology, cybersecurity, military use cases in niche technologies like 5G, Internet of Things, AI, cloud computing, blockchain, and VR AR. He has been working in policy formulation in respect of cyberspace, communication, information systems, electronic warfare, and information warfare during his tenure in the Military Operations Directorate. He has published 10 research papers on defense economics, leveraging technology, budgetary reform, defense production as part of Make in India policy, and public private partnership for self reliance for development of indigenous capabilities during his doctoral program. He has authored a book on economics of defense and budgetary reforms in consonance with Make in India policy in 2015 during NDC 55 course in National Defense College, Delhi. Sir, over to you. We're obliged to have yours.
Thank you very much, Mohit, for the introduction. At the outset, uh, I would thank everyone for this opportunity. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Registrar Sir, Director BK School Professional and Management, Department of Public Policy Governance, and especially Dr. Neelam Panchal ma'am, who has been steering this since last maybe a month plus or so. So with that, I must acknowledge the effort which has gone, and I feel honored and privileged to be associated with this International Youth Symposium, INYS 2022, which is 7th in the serial number since this has started from 2016. And also, I must compliment and appreciate the theme and the sub-theme which has been for the symposium, achieving sustainable development goal through policy and business intervention is very, very appropriate, especially after this global pandemic post COVID-19. So there I also was going through the sub themes, and then I also highlighted that for my 10 to 15 minutes of talk, I selected the sustainable development goals out of 17. I then pointed on third, which is good health and being, the kind of problems which the entire planet faced during COVID-19 was the one which has initiated that good health and well-being is very, very important, which has already been mentioned by Dr. Puran Pandey sir also, especially we all have realized during COVID-19 lockdowns when we found there is a shortage of oxygen, beds in the hospitals, the kind of vaccination program which has been undertaken by our country. And this is how we have addressed this issue. And related to this, that is the sustainable development goal number 4, which is the quality education. Since these, I feel, as per me, not that other 17 are not important, but I feel that as per my assessment, I gave them a little bit higher priority. So with this, I will talk about the health, well-being, the reason being that we find the motto which is given in the Sharir Madhyam Khalu Dharm Sadhanam. Now, this is the motto of the Gita, Sri Bhagavad Gita, which has been given in this particular age where we find that our body is our life partner. This body comes to in being the moment we take birth, and this body goes when we breathe last. So the entire life between the first and the last breath is our body, everything, mind and everything which lies in the body. So therefore, we must take care for well-being and health. Then only we can remain productive. That is one. Second, the dates which has been chosen for this symposium, that is 28th and 29th January. I must also compliment for this the reason that Swami Vivekananda was born on 12th January, and 12th January, ladies and gentlemen, is celebrated as the Youth Day of India, of our country. So with this thing, this month is very, very important. The other thing which were brought out, it was brought out again by the uh, students, wherein it was told that we are in the free world. Therefore, as a kind of, I must say that the youngest country in the world is the one wherein we have roughly 64-65% of our people who are in this category. And since this is related, So therefore, other thing I just wanted to, if the Gujarat University, when I shown that video, Yog Tarshu Kosalam, that youth to really care of our well-being, health and education, then only remain as a citizen to our country, also as a human being to the entire world. And so with this as a background, I talk about the sustainable goal. So therefore, our sector should take all initiatives towards realizing the quality of life. We must address that we remain productive. Trust area, as I said, in this whole development goal, wherein this has also and wherein doing so, he has P's. 5 P's are very, very important, in which the public, the parent, and understand in the correct perspective. If you see evolution of society and the industry, please go back to the previous slide. So this you see society which is about the 19th century, which was agriculture and industrial. 20th we talk information age, and now in the 21st century we are the knowledge age. So we find various world events, the industry, business, and also the working education with the curriculum has also changed over these. Technology to the space mentioned that development.
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, ma'am.
Bishoy sir, sorry to interrupt. Your voice is breaking.
Okay, ma'am. I just bring increase voice. So it is okay, ma'am. Increase the voice. Is it okay?
So still it is breaking. In case you want to either rejoin or don't use headphones if it is used, I think.
Okay.
Not audible, sir. So you are on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
So without the headphone.
Yes, this is better, sir.
Okay.
Please
So
go
now
ahead.
coming to the race between technology and education, the moment we find in the industrial revolution and agriculture revolution, I am talking about 19th century, we have seen that the entire industrial revolution, the education which has taken place and harnessed and leveraged the technology, now with that, particularly in 21st century, we find that the hybrid model which is important, wherein we have to see both online, offline, contact, non-contact, and with this the future education and the skills which we talk about in 2033, the core competency and foundation of well-being is is required, that we should trust more on the skills rather than on the degrees and certification, because the skills which are required by the industry, we must give to our youth those skills which are relevant, so that they get better placements, better jobs, and they also become an asset to the society for that. So with these kind of the values, the attitudes, knowledge and skills are supposed to be given, and if we feel that education is become expensive, then we are not on the correct path. And therefore, with all this technology, the accessibility, the internet penetration, the mobile connectivity even has gone as a part of digital India closer to the remote areas and the borders. So it has brought more number of peoples who are having the mobile connectivity and internet connectivity and can use online kind of courses, both available free and paid, and therefore they can improve upon their skills. So with this as a career kind of SWOT analysis, if we go to the next slide, then we find that we have certain strengths which we must continue, both as a part of education, physical education, health improvement, and the weaknesses which are there, we need to improve upon this. And the basic line with the youth, that they should be able to leverage technology. At the same time, they should be able to have the values and culture which our society, which our forefathers have given to us, so that we lead a healthy life. At the same time, we use the technology, and therefore there is a requirement of meshing these. Otherwise, we are going to have a kind of threats which is going to be the problems. Now, next thing, if we see the causal loop diagram in the next slide, we find an ecosystem. If we are healthy, and our performance in the sports, our overall health of our citizens, our overall expenditure which we give it to hospitals, and we find that the prevention is better than cure. And therefore, as a part of our activities, if we keep in the form of yoga, in the form of walking, playing sports, so it is going to impact all the sectors. It will improve our academic performance, it will improve our productivity, whatever work we are doing, it is going to add value to our GDP, to the nation. And therefore you will find the other added advantage, it is going to improve the human development index, human happiness index, the jobs kind of skills which are available. So therefore good health and well-being as a sustainable development goal number 3 is very very important to lead a better quality of life as a citizen. So how do we achieve this? If we go to the next slide, we find that there are 4 kind of parameters where we can implement this. First and foremost thing is that we need to create all programs where the people themselves become more active, which means daily they should carry out some physical activity varying between 15 to 30 minutes. We must create active society. If the people are active, the family is active, then we will find that the entire society will be active. Irrespective of all kind of age groups, we have certain things which can be done. And with this, we must create physically active environment. When I say environment, I mean the kind of infrastructure which has to be part of inter-ministerial groups, so that there are enough kind of cycle tracks, walking tracks, parks, and all kind of facilities where irrespective of any age group, people should be able to use those in the morning, in the evening, depending upon their commitment. And in the end, we must create active systems, policies, wherein the role of the governance comes in, so that the entire society, starting from individual to the family to the environment and to the policy, should make sure that we become a society which is healthy, productive, and also society where we find that the expenditure on our other health should come down, which is varying between 46% to 48%, which is huge kind of loss as a individual, as a family, as a nation, as a part of GDP. So therefore, I feel that we should be able to do this if we all go into the kind of activities which I have mentioned. So going to the next slide, whatever the sustainable development goals which has been given from 2015 to 2030 by the United Nations to all the member nations to achieve all these 17 goals, and therefore we should have a roadmap wherein every activity should be quantified. We should have a national fitness index. It can be a state fitness index of all the states. We should be able to monitor it with various kind of applications on our mobile of each and every individual. We have 95% mobile penetrations, and various applications has also been launched by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. We will find that we should be able to improve overall health and well-being of the entire nation, of all the citizens, irrespective of rural areas, urban areas, and cover the entire nation. And therefore, if all member nations do the same activity, it will become a healthy planet, healthy world for all of us to live in. So with this, I have done with my recommendation and findings, and therefore I feel that the health and well-being is also linked with education, and with the new education policy 2020, wherein the entire things have been changed, made multidisciplinary, and we must use these new policies for the overall improvement to enhance the efficiency and effectivity of all the youths and their skills, so they become employable, and we have a better healthy society, happy society, mentally physically fit society. And that is the end of my talk. So thank you very much. Jai Hind. And if there are any questions, I am ready to take on these questions.
Wonderful presentation, sir, and very
I have done
insightful.
with the presentation. If there are questions, I am ready to take on those.
Yeah, and
Thank
sir,
you.
you
Thank
rightly
you.
said that young Indians need a little bit of exercise because day by day the cardiac diseases are increasing in young people and various other diseases. So we do have a question from the audience, if I may.
Sir, I can't
Sir,
hear.
sir, am I audible? Hello,
Yes, Mohit, you are audible, but I
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
sir, am I audible now? Sir, we do
Say
have a
that.
question. Sir, you are on mute.
Yeah. Please
Yeah.
ask, Mohit.
Yeah. So we do have a question. So if we talk about health policies by the government, if you see universal health card, Ayushman Bharat scheme, and a lot of scheme by governments are pretty very nice for the poor people, but implementation, or we can say execution, has always been the back foot of the government. So what suggestions would you like to give to government for better execution of such schemes? Where do you think the government is lacking in execution part?
Yeah, Mohit, thank you very much. It's a very nice question. So, first and foremost thing, this COVID-19, this pandemic has, given all of us, in rather the entire world, each and every human being have realized the importance of health and well-being. So that is point number one. Though we shouldn't have learned this lesson the way we have. Second thing is, after this, the kind of remedial measures which has been taken by the government, particularly with the formulation of the policies which you have already mentioned, they are on the right step. Now, coming to the implementation will involve two things. First and foremost thing is, it involves the all the governments, whether at the center, at the state, or that is one. It will also require assistance from the civil society, NGOs, and others, Third, the more important role is each and every citizen also has a role in implementing the same. So if we see these three things, and by doing so now it is even easier to implement if we compare 20 years 50 years back. Why it is easier? Now we can have the technology with us. We have the mobile applications wherein we can monitor. We have graduated from 2G 3G to now 4G and LTE, where the better data speeds, the way we are conducting this symposium itself shows that actually the technology can really give us everything whatever we want to do online. And now maybe next 2 to 3 years when the 5G comes, you will find, and the digital India completes its job to all the remote inaccessible and border villages where the connectivity will be there. So I feel the applications, mobile applications, leveraging harnessing technology, that is one side. Role of each and every human being, citizen, civil society, organizations, NGOs, government, all have to play their role in this to make it success. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. We need the involvement of all the factors of the society to make any policy successful. Very well said,
Yes.
sir. So as we move forward, it gives us immense pleasure to announce the brand new issue of a newsletter by Department of Public Policy and Governance, BK School of Professional and Management Studies. Can we have the newsletter on the screen, please? This is the fourth issue of newsletter, including all types of activities of the department. So, moving forward, let us welcome our keynote speaker,
Okay.
Mr.
ठीक.
Tomio Isogai, sir. Mr. Tomio Isogai is the former managing director of Sharp India Limited. He has a 37-year
हाँ.
career at Sharp Corporation, an over 100-year-old Japanese electronics giant engaged in
Okay.
the global sales and marketing of various electronic products. He truly is
Yes.
global-minded business leader with diversified experiences in more than 60 countries over the world, residing in 5 countries for more than 25 years up until today, particularly in the emerging markets. He once was a member of the Economist Forum in Dubai,
तो मतलब
UAE,
हर एक
as managing
हर
director
एक
of Sharp Middle East
प्रोजेक्ट
Free
में
Zone
पूरे नाम चाहिए
establishment.
ना.
Mr. Isogai has retired from his career at Sharp in September 2016 and returned to Japan, where he has become a member of Ayurveda Society in Japan, BKS Iyengar Yoga Association in Japan, the Kansai Japan India Cultural Society in Kobe, appointed as director in November 21, Japan India Cultural Exchange Network in Tokyo, and 22nd Century Academy in Yokohama, Japan. Since 2017, Mr. Isogai has been invited to many events and functions as guest lecturer, as well as to international conferences, seminars, and symposiums being organized by many academic institutions that include IIT Bombay, IIM Calcutta, IIM Indore, and IIIT Ahmedabad. It's a great honor to have you with us, sir, today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Very good morning, everyone. It is
Good
a
morning.
great pleasure and immense, actually, honor to be personally associated with Gujarat University. You know, Gujarat University has more than 50 years of association with Japan. So I just got some connection with those associations. And now through this symposium, I got privately and personally associated with this very esteemed institute, which is very, very big privilege for me as well. Let me share my screen right now. All right. Is it showing?
Not now, sir.
Not
If you
yet,
want
sir.
any help, you can send me parallelly. I can show here.
Let me just try again. How is that?
Not yet, sir. Could you please try once again?
In my screen, it is saying it's shared. Let me just try again. If it's not yet.
Not yet, sir.
Okay. Let me try it again.
Or you can mail to us parallelly while you are talking, so we will show it on the screen. That is the alternative.
Yeah, but because of this PPT, I would like
Right.
to do it myself. How is it? In my screen, it says it is shown. It is shared now.
I think it
Yes,
is
sir.
getting shared
Now it
now.
is showing, sir,
Now
showing.
it's
It's
visible.
happening.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
It's happening.
Perfectly
Oh,
It's
great.
visible.
happening.
Okay, great. Okay, so let me just start within limited time. My title here today is SDGs and Society 5.0. First, I'd like to talk about different perspective and commonness between Indians and Japan. Number two, India and Japan, strongest partners, which I do believe from my heart. Number three, Society 5.0, a human-centered society. And number four, SDGs, challenges and opportunities. Of course, I believe in those 2 days and coming up, many people will talk about these. But I'd like to give you one excellent success business model by NEC Corporation, which is a Japanese corporation. First thing I like to share with you all is the global map from the global standard, which you are very much familiar with. But this is not the world map that even a single Japanese person is watching. We look at the world only this way. Look at this. From the Western perspective, Japan looks very far away from USA, but it's not true. From our perspective, we are in between USA and India. So it's a totally different perspective. Now, one more difference in between India and Japan is demography. Demography illustrated by this graphics. In the year 2020, the Indian population pyramid looks like this. And I will show you the same demography in the year 2050, almost 30 years from today. In the year 2050, India will look like this. It's a projection, of course. And the population-wise, 138 crore to become even 164 crores, possibly. Now, let me show you Japan. It is totally a different shape. It will become, after 30 years, look like this. Oh my gosh. This is very, very unstable and very risky shape of a population pyramid. Population-wise, 12.6 crore to become 10.6 crore. So India keeps growing its population, and it's a very young country. On the other hand, Japan is decreasing its population and very aging population. So there is a great and big difference in between the two countries. So Japan is in need, actually, desperate need of young manpower, where all industries require the young manpower like you from India. Now, let me talk about Industry 4.0 just a little bit. Industry 4.0 refers to the combination of several major technology innovations, all maturing at the same time, that is expected to significantly shift the landscape of the manufacturing industry. These technologies, like advanced robotics, artificial intelligence, sophisticated sensors, cloud computing, and big data analytics, all exist in manufacturing today in some form, but as they integrate with one another, the physical and virtual worlds will interlink and transform the industry. As you all know, it's coming. So it was like first industrial revolution in 18th century, and second in the 19th century, and the third 20th century, and we are living in the fourth industrial revolution. In the USA, marketing 4.0 is discussed. Marketing 1.0 was a product-driven marketing. Marketing 2.0 was customer-centric marketing. Marketing 3.0 was human-centric marketing. And marketing 4.0 is a marketing approach that combines online and offline interaction between companies and customers. But because of this pandemic situation, that brought us to a different perspective as well. It's an online offline interaction between not only companies and customers, but also companies and their employees. In fact, in an increasingly online world, offline touch represents a strong differentiation. Remember that. Marketing 4.0 also blends style with substance in building brands and ultimately complements machine to machine connectivity with human to human touch to strengthen the customer engagement. Now, what will be the next? Beyond Industry 4.0 and Marketing 4.0, which we believe is Society 5.0. What is that? The history of mankind reveals that evolution of human society has been fueled by technological advances with key steps along the way as the Society 1.0 hunter-gatherer society, Society 2.0 agrarian or agriculture-based society, Society 3.0 industrial, and today we live in the Society 4.0, which is information society. Now, the next will be Society 5.0, a human-centered society that balances economic advancement with the resolution of social problems by a system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space. Just look at visually like this. Society 1.0, Society 2.0, Society 3.0, and Society 4.0, where we are living right now. And we will welcome the new Society 5.0. What is the Society 5.0? In the Society 4.0, cross-sectional sharing of knowledge and information was not enough, and cooperation was difficult. There is a limit to what people can do. The task of finding the necessary information from overflowing information and analyzing it was a burden, and the labor and scope of action were restricted. Social reform or innovation in Society 5.0 will achieve a forward-looking society that breaks down the existing sense of stagnation, a society in which each and every person can lead an active and enjoyable life. So there are certain issues, and that can be solved in this Society 5.0 by many innovations. I will not go into the details about this. Society 5.0 achieves a high degree of convergence between cyberspace or virtual space and physical space or real space. The huge amount of information from sensors in physical space is accumulated and collected in cyberspace. And in the cyberspace, this big data is analyzed by artificial intelligence, and the analysis results are fed back to humans in physical space in various forms. And things and their systems are all connected in cyberspace, and optimal results obtained by AI exceeding the capabilities of humans are fed back to physical space. So it looks like this way. The environment surrounding the world is in an era of drastic change, as you know. As the economy grows, life is becoming prosperous and convenient. The demand for energy and foodstuffs is increasing. Lifespan is becoming longer and longer, and the aging society is advancing everywhere. Problems such as the concentration of wealth and regional inequality are growing. Social problems that must be solved in opposition to such economic development have become increasingly complex. Achieving both economic development and solutions to social problems at the same time has proven to be difficult in the present social system. Yes, Again, I'm not going to go details, but if you are interested, I can share all my slides now being shown today will be shared later on. Please ask the organizer. Society 5.0 would also contribute to meeting the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, today's topic, established by the United Nations. And Japan aims to be the first country in the world to achieve a human-centered society, which is Society 5.0, in which anyone can enjoy a high-quality life full of vigor. It intends to accomplish this by incorporating advanced technologies in diverse industries and social activities, and fostering innovation to create new value. So creating new values is the goal in the new Society 5.0. And some of the examples of new values are already introduced by the Japanese government in the mobility, healthcare, caregiving, manufacturing, agriculture, food, disaster prevention, energy conservation. So this is the main topic of discussion in this symposium. I was talking about Society 5.0 will be the next society that we are welcoming with all the advances, technologies, innovations, and that will help solve SDGs. So this is the image of Society 5.0, full of comfort, vitality, and high quality life. Now, let me just share with you an excellent business model by NEC Corporation Japan. NEC is a leader in the integration of IT and network technologies and brings more than 100 years of expertise in technological innovation to provide solutions for empowering people, business, and society. Under the company's corporate message of orchestrating a brighter world, the NEC Corporation Group globally provides solutions for society that promote the safety, security, efficiency, and equality of society. Since 1950s, NEC in India expanded its business from telecommunications to public safety, logistics, transportation, retail, finance, unified communication, and IT platforms, serving across governments, businesses, as well as individuals. Do you remember one thing? In 2010, the Unique Identification Authority of India launched the Aadhaar program, a national identification system that aims to provide all residents of India with a unique identity and a digital platform to authenticate anytime, anywhere. This is where NEC is making a valuable contribution. Central to the Aadhaar program is an unprecedented large-scale biometric system developed by NEC Corporation. The system utilizes multiple biometrics such as fingerprints, face images, and iris images to distinguish more than 1.3 billion Indian citizens. For the Aadhaar program, NEC has specially adjusted its identification algorithm to enhance the identification accuracy of its biometric system even further. Now, let me just share some of the other business models that was created by NEC and implemented by them. Empowering rural India with innovative digital services. NEC and CSC e-governance services form a strategic alliance to deliver innovative digital services for rural areas in India. With more than 470,000 transactions occurring at CSCs across India every day, CSC will launch, refine, and tweak the variety and efficiency of services on offer by leveraging NAC's expertise in areas such as AI and data analytics. The services will impact approximately 900 million citizens living in rural areas of India. You can take a look at more about this by this link. Next is making education in rural India accessible. With the aim to improve access to quality education in rural area India, NEC partnered with CSC and IIT Delhi. Beginning this endeavor, a hackathon was jointly organized on digitalizing rural India. In the hackathon, 30 teams selected from all over the country participated in brainstorming sessions to develop ideas to simplify education delivery in India. CSC and NEC will work jointly to develop tools and products for rural students. One more thing I'd like to share about the NEC's activities: providing preventive healthcare services in Bihar, complimentary health check for 5,000 citizens during 2 months pilot run. This collaboration is aimed at promoting the health and wellness of citizens in the state of Bihar, India, by offering a periodic home visit health check and encouraging citizens to change their lifestyle habits to mitigate the risk of chronic diseases such as diabetes. NEC will develop and provide a health application capable of showing each citizen's health status and providing advice according to the data recorded by ASHAs. NEC will also provide Android tablet devices, network connection, measuring equipment, and training for the ASHAs and ANMs for the duration of this pilot run. ASHA is accredited social health activists. ANM is auxiliary nurse midwife. This is the image, how they have conducted this. Excellent job being done by NAC and CSC. Now, Japan and India has shared the Vision 2025. It has become a special strategic and global partnership. And this year, 2022, is the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic relations between the two countries. See, it's a milestone that we are celebrating this year. This is the logo and icon of this 70th anniversary of the two nations. Just remember, please. Japan-India vision statement says this will bring about the convergence between the India's flagship programs such as Digital India, Startup India, and Smart City with Japan's Society 5.0 to promote societal benefits. The two governments have already committed signing an MOC, the Memorandum of Cooperation. The agreement reached in the field of information communication technologies, ICT, by both the countries on 5G technologies, telecom security, submarine optical fiber cable system, spectrum management, smart cities, high altitude platform for broadband, disaster management, and public safety, etc. Now, finally, I'd like to share, we are living in a VUCA world. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. After the pandemic, COVID-19, it has become even worse, much more VUCA world. In this VUCA world, how to survive? We all have to have a clear vision, deep understanding, clarity of what we are doing, and agility in what we are doing. Vision, understanding, clarity, agility. I would like to add something to this. Clear vision, fine. Deep understanding, okay. But instead of clarity, I would put courage to change things, courage to start something new. And instead of agility, I put adaptability to the changes of the environment. So, in my view, the new solution to VUCA is vision, understanding, courage, and adaptability. A very good quote from Chanakya for you all. Even if the destination or the desired object be far away or difficult to achieve, one can reach it or get it if one is determined. Nothing is impossible for a determined person. This is great word. So let's build a solid partnership for a prosperous future together. Thank you so much for your attention. Special thanks to Dr. Nilam for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful talk and talking about on Society 5.0 and human-centered society and showing the excellent business model by NEC and giving the tips on how to survive in VUCA world with the vision, understanding, courage, and adaptability. And now I think one of our participants have one question. Mohit, would you please go ahead with that?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, so we have a question that, as you said, India and Japan has fantastic ties, great friends, great allies. We share a lot of common goals, whether be political, cultural, spiritual. Our goals align, and we also share a lot of history. So, what are your expectations from the youth of India and youth of Japan? How should they come together and build that, societal fabric, which you're saying that society 5.0? How would you like to see the youth collaborate?
Well, that is a great question, and I expect the youth will give the future. That is for them and for their prosperity, for their happiness. I think we should work together. The Indian youth should work together closely with Japanese youth, and they both complement each other to make mutual benefits. This is what I do believe very firmly from my heart. That's why I'm speaking from Pune here in India. I'm living here for the last more than 10 years. I'm committed to make this happen. My goal is 2050, not even 2030 as SDGs is targeting. My goal is 2050 when we want to see India and Japan the strongest partners by the youth today. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. And it was a very fantastic session. So now I would like to request Dr. Neelam Panchal, ma'am, to conclude the inauguration ceremony and give the vote of appreciation to our guest speakers and audience. Over to you, ma'am.
Ma'am, you're on
Ma'am,
mute.
you are
Thank
on
you.
mute. Yeah. Now you're audible, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, everyone, all the dignitaries present over here, and all the people who are directly or indirectly associated with the program. I express my sincere gratitude to the chief guest of the session, Dr. Tomio Isogai, Director, Kansai Japan India Cultural Society, Kobe, Japan, and a senior advisor, India Japan Business Desk, Culture and Co. India. So we are very, very thankful for your wonderful talk and insights on the Society 5.0 and motivating the youth of the nation for building up our nation, as well as the industrial relations, as well as the country relations, and so on and so forth. We are highly grateful for your presence over here. Thank you so much. Next, I would like to thank Professor Dr. Major General Pritam Bisnoy ji, Advisor, Defense and Strategic Affairs, Broadcast Engineering Consultant India Limited, and Information and Broadcasting Ministry of India for being present over here. He is also our guest faculty and guiding Indian Society and the Institute of Defense Studies and Research. So, sir, we are highly grateful to you for your presence and your wonderful insights. We are highly grateful to Dr. Puran Chandra Pandey, member of Board of Trustee, UN World Food Program Trust, resident representative at Climate Scorecard, Milton, US. The thought process that you have and the sharing that you have done in a very short stipulated time period, it's so wonderful, and we are very, very grateful to have you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank
We
you.
are thankful to Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Himanshu Pandya, Vice Chancellor of the Gujarat University and a Chief Patron of the Symposium. Due to some schedule, he is not able to talk, but he is with us. And Honorable Dr. Jagdish Bavsa, sir, Co-Vice Chancellor Gujarat University and a Patron of the Symposium. We are highly thankful to Shri Piyush Patel, sir, Registrar of Gujarat University, for allowing this conference and for their valuable and consistent guide. I'm highly grateful for Dr. Pratik Kanchan, Director, BK School of Professional and Management Studies and Chairperson of the International Youth Symposium, for giving this opportunity to organize the symposium and for all the encouragement and the consistent guidance throughout the way. We are very indebted to our Director of the BK School for his consistent support, directions, and also extending freedom to execute the mandate. I also expand special thanks to the team for participating in the event with so many participants across the world. I'm indebted to all the participants and all the more than 50 speakers throughout the day and throughout the 2 days of the upcoming conference who are from different countries and also within the nation India. I extend my special thanks to all the educational institutes and other bodies who displayed such an enthusiastic participation. A special mentioning of all the national and international scholars, academicians, practitioners, researchers, and participants in this conference. I'm very, very thankful to Professor Maggie Parikh, Professor Nilima Ruparel, Dr. Mamta Brahmpat, Dr. Mehal Pandya, Dr. Jay Desai, Dr. Ankita Kathiria, and the team of the faculty members of the BK School of Professional and Management Studies for the consistent support. Special thanks to Ms. Kinjal Desai, PRO, and Placement Coordinator for extending the support. I'm indebted to all the plenary speakers, to all the 17 speakers who are going to speak on the Sustainable Development Goals tomorrow. And all the 17 speakers, I'm very, very indebted and highly thankful to all you. I'm indebted to all the members of the review committee who appreciatively spend their valuable time and effort for reviewing the paper and identifying good papers, making them categorize into getting into publish in the book or journal. I wish to thank from the bottom of the heart for the consistent support of everyone directly or indirectly connected to the symposium at all the phases, including reviewing, editing, proofreading, content committee, and especially the students committee of the publication team. My thanks are due to doctoral, MBA full-time, MBA evening, MBA part-time, MBA maritime, MBA Business Intelligence, Department of Business Intelligence, Department of Maritime, Department of Professional Studies, Department of Public Policy and Governance, all the faculty members, Snehal Shah, Himanshi Prajapati, Karan Bhatt, and all the IDSR faculty who are connected with us, Mr. Devesh, and the placement coordinator of the IDSR team, and all the faculty members team who are round the clock and putting their diligent efforts undertaken round the clock for making a success of the program. Special thanks to Ashvi and Mohit for anchoring this session. I'm thankful to all the staff members of the Gujarat University and especially BK School of Professional and Management Studies Department of Public Policy and Governance team of the students as well as the staff members for their secretarial and administrative support, and immeasurable gratitude to my family for extending me strength throughout the time and being with me, bear with me, and supporting me so that I can continuously do this type of work. Thank you so much, Almighty, and all dear friends, all the stalwarts who are connected to us on this virtual platform. Thank you once again. And the next session that we are going to have on the Facebook and the YouTube Live on the DPPG BK page. So thank you once again to all the dignitaries over here. Over to you, Ashvi. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pat, and thank you so much, everyone, once again for being here with us in this occasion. And we are rising under your shadow, ma'am. So thank you so much for that. And I would like to inform you that our next program is a plenary session. So kindly join us after the break, sharp at 12:30 on a given StreamYard link. And our plenary session would be live on YouTube and DPPG website. So thank you so much. Yeah,
We're going for national anthem now.
National.
yeah.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. Thank you, everyone, once again. See you in the next plenary session.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chomyo ji and Pritam ji and Puran ji once again. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Have a great day ahead. Thank you very much once again, and namaste.